Listen, TK, have you? I know you. I know you're seeing this. I know you've seen this 1,000 times. This dude throws a towel at Mark Davis, and then this is the one that's got everybody talking because it went on the floor. Bro gets up and chucks a heating pad at Mark Davis. What's the discipline that should be laid out by Adam Silver for this? Also,
Should a game?
Man,
I guess you just couldn't really feel the impact of it while you were watching the game. It just didn't become anything until the officials didn't. Usually they're razzle dazzle. They're ready to go. They're ready to tee people up. They're ready to kick you out. And it kind of just seemed like they didn't even notice. So I didn't.
Well, shout out to the towel boy who caught shout out to the ball boy who caught the towel and got it away, from the floor. But the heating pad landed right by, I think it was Reggie Jackson and Karl Anthony Towns.
Pope, I think.
Pope, sorry.
KCP. Yeah, KCP got it out here. Yeah, I think a game too. Like I said, I understand everything Damien's saying. I probably just still, do a game because there's still room for not knowing intent.
Bro,
there's still room. I'm with you. I think he did it on purpose. And I think he tried to throw it at the ref, but there's still room for that.
How many birds are outside of your preseason sports right now?
Guys, I didn't know if you could hear it. It's sanctuary.
It's strong sanctuary vibes. Yeah, it's Trysta and the birds.
It doesn't feel like it's disrupting our vibe here. Do I need to go inside?
It's giving vibes, though.
It's a lot. Yeah,
it's giving vibes like, oh, we outside.
It's in the audio version of 4K.
I can go inside.
No, it looks immaculate though. The backdrop, it's sunny, it's gorgeous.
Spring is there.
Look at you've got acreage back. That is Kenny Caraway style acreage.
Where's Baby Fox? Where's Baby Fox?
Oh, he was in the compost today. We found him, and all of a sudden the compost is just right there. There's this big sort of wooden raised bed where you just throw food scraps in and then you fill it with dirt. It's good with food waste, and he's munching in on it he is growing. Okay. So he's tiny. He's like Emma size.
Only little fox.
Yeah. He doesn't even have a full tail yet.
Oh, how adorable.
Baby
we talk about the one thing I was thinking about was Jamal Murray throwing the towel and should he be suspended and all this other stuff. And there's arguments to be had on the other side, but there's still room for intent. Whether he intended or not. It's not like he was Robert Horry throwing the towel at Danny Ainge. Now that we can pull that one up. Yo, that was crazy. That was his coach too.
No, that was an all-timer. That was an all-timer.
Yeah, you can't really tell. It could have just been out of frustration. Let's be honest. Jamal Murray isn't healthy. He doesn't look like himself at all. And they're getting their asses whooped. If you can't beat the Timberwolves without Rudy Gobert, I don't know if you're going to beat him.
I feel like this one's a wrap, man. There's the only thing I'm holding out for is maybe you get one of two and you can do the whole, win game 5 if you're Denver, make it 3-2. And then you just do the whole, hey, all we got to do is get game 6 because we ain't losing game 7. That's the only thing I'm holding out for Denver, but it looks like it's over.
Yeah, I mean, and it's less to do with Denver than it is. And listen, it's actually both. Denver doesn't have a bench. They really didn't figure out what they were wanting to do in terms of replacing Bruce Brown, replacing Jeff Green, right? And they told us, they pitched us, hey, and I believed in them. Hey, we've got guys that are just as good right now. Peyton Watson is better than Bruce Brown right now. He's not. I'm sorry to say. He is not. Christian Brown, he's not a replacement for Jeff Green. And Jeff Green is kind of an unsung hero on a lot of teams. You don't really realize how impactful he can be, Uncle Jeff. And he gave us some really big minutes along the way when they won the title. So they didn't do anything to really replace their role players besides the whole like youth movement thing. So that's one thing. And then you look at the Timberwolves and just what they've done, not just from a roster standpoint, but from a scheme standpoint. And they give Jamal Murray fits. They're blitzing him. They're making his life uncomfortable. Every single shot is difficult. They're in his body. They're making Jokic, forcing him into 15 threes in a game, right? Like, that's just uncharacteristic. They're clogging the paint up. You know, having 2 7-footers, it appears, if you can sort your own spacing out, really disrupts everybody else and what they want to do on that side of the ball too. So give it up for what the Timberwolves have done. Timberwolves had 23 blocks and steals last night. 23.
That's crazy.
That is almost unfathomable. 23 steals and blocks.
Without Rudy.
Yeah.
Without Rudy Gobert.
Do you see what your boy said about Rudy Gobert?
Who's my boy?
Gilbert Arenas.
Oh my God. Yes,
No,
I did see that. Say it. Tell him.
Gilbert Arenas said, "It's a baby. It'll be there tomorrow."
Oh, well,
Gilbert Arenas is in the Shannon
that's
Sharp
him.
camp for me. He's in the Ocho Cinco camp, like just toxic men with toxic traits and perspectives. What? Did you not see what he recently said, that he was getting into it with this shorty over, that he wanted her to wake up at 4 a.m. every day to cook him some food, and they were beefing over that?
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
But I don't think Ocho's Gil, though. Gil is like the most
unsalvageable.
Toxic.
Yeah,
he
he's
is
unsalvageable.
Toxic.
Yeah.
Gil is
but that whole little like new crew of media, ridiculous. The things that they say, ridiculous.
That's not media. Those are former athletes with podcasts.
That's okay. Fine. That's true.
Yeah,
whatever. We need to have like a new word for it, I guess, because that's a lot of words to say what I want to say.
Former athletes with podcasts.
Yeah.
That's the acronym.
Former athletes with
FAWP. That's FOP.
Whoa. Oh, it got crazy.
Yeah.
I was like, FAW, and I thought a K might be there. I was like, yo.
Well,
we can't call them that.
No. We could leave the W out and call them FAPS.
FAPS.
Shout out to BAPS.
Well,
I used to love that movie.
Yeah.
I see.
That's basically it.
For me, man. Play the video, man. I see you got the video queued up, man. This is Robert Horry, Danny Ainge. Danny Ainge is head coach of the Suns.
Oh my God. Trader Danny.
Terrible.
Right.
Oh, look at Ernie.
Face.
Look at Ernie Johnson and Reggie Theus right there. Look at that group. Look at where the era of NBA on TNT was at one point.
They're
Ernie and Reggie
next to each other, like shoulder to shoulder.
Oh, amazing.
Bro, that was hilarious. Why did Eddie's like next step back?
No, this is terrible. This is Robert Horry. Come on, man.
Why did he hit him in the face like that?
That's terrible. Look at Reggie. Reggie thinking about a white woman right now. Look at him.
Oh man.
Oh, look at Reggie.
Yeah, he can get it.
Shout out Reggie Theus. What, ma'am?
Well, look,
Perfect
the ladies
skin.
love Reggie, man.
Well,
come on now.
Perfect skin.
I feel like he still looks like that.
He does.
I feel like that's exactly what Reggie Theus still looks
he's
like.
He's perfect. The ladies love Reggie.
You know, my bad. Oh, my bad.
Gosh.
My bad. He exfoliates, as TK would say. He exfoliates.
Rush Street Reggie is what they would call him.
Yeah,
Chicago.
man. Yeah, man. Who you got since we're in the Western Conference? Dallas and OKC.
I was just digging in on this. I think I lean OKC just because of Luka's injury. Luka's going to have a really hard time with Lou Dort. They've got multiple guys that they can throw his way, right? You can put Jalen Williams on him. You can put Lou Dort on him. And then you look at Kyrie. I think Kyrie's probably got a better matchup in terms of him getting busy. But Luka just doesn't look right with that knee tweak. And that is saying a lot, considering that I think he averaged 30 points per game in that last series against the Clippers. So, he can still get his. But you look at, even just from a betting perspective, at the player props for OKC versus the Mavericks, and there's like 5 guys for the Thunder whose player point prop is in double figures. And it's just Luka and Kyrie for the Mavs. So they don't know who they're really going to get any production from, right? Like you might get a 3 or 2 from Derek Jones Jr., excuse me. You might get you're not getting a lot. Like Tim Hardaway Jr. hasn't really been great. Hopefully, if you're the Mavs, that you've got Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford out there, and maybe they can push Chet Holmgren around a little, because they're used to getting bodied by Zubac, and this is a whole new challenge because they really want to run. OKC really wants to run like 5 out. But the Mavs are going to need to shoot threes. And I don't know who that's going to be. Is that going to be Dante Exum? Is that going to be, and Maxi Kleber is out for this entire season. I mean, entire series, excuse me, with their separated shoulder. So when they play small ball 5 with him, that was a really good look against the Clippers. And that now is no longer an option. So I like the Thunder more slightly. I like them tonight to win game 1. I don't think that Jason Kidd has ever won a game 1 with the Mavericks as head coach. So that's telling. And they're not a great home team either. Not a great road team either. So, yeah, I think it's a slight advantage for OKC. But as you guys can tell, I'm kind of like vacillating about it, because the Mavs, despite me thinking that they were going to be terrible all year, are where we are now. And they're staring right at the Western Conference Finals if they can get past a much smaller Thunder team. Thunder want to turn you over. They're the top team in terms of deflections in the NBA. And at one point, the Mavs were like 4th in turnovers. So that could be an interesting look. But, yeah, I'm very torn in this series. I think this thing could go the distance.
That fall Maxi took was nasty.
Yeah. Nasty.
That was all bad. I agree with you, though, TK. I think I'm going to go OKC in 7. And maybe even sooner after the things that you just laid out, because you're 100% correct. I don't know if Dallas has enough on a nightly basis against OKC. OKC the real deal. They're the real deal, man. And they've got pretty much everything you need except for maybe shooting, but I don't know if Dallas has the defense to
But think about this. They were the number 1 3-point shooting team in the NBA percentage-wise and in the postseason.
True. They only take good threes.
Yep.
When it comes down. I like my boy Isaiah Joe. He can stretch the floor. He's a dead eye shooter. Yeah, man. I think OKC gonna get this one.
I like Shea in this matchup as well. It's going to be fascinating to see how Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively split time, and whether they're really able to protect the paint, because what we know is that, Shea is a mid-range master, right? And same thing with Jalen Williams. Both those guys live and die with the mid-range. So, where are we seeing, how much is Daniel Gafford coming up? And on top of that, while Chet Holmgren's not exactly a thick boy by any means, we were making fun of the Wizards all year before Daniel Gafford got traded, because centers were able to score like crazy against him. He's just not one of those guys that you can trust to truly rim protect. He can get a lot of rebounds, and I think he will against Chet. But is he going to be able to stop Chet from scoring? I don't know.
We'll get to the Western or Eastern Conference, in just a heartbeat, but I'll bring you in on a conversation we were having earlier. It's just fictitious, just fun, just off-season stuff. If Jimmy Butler were available for trade, because apparently Pat Riley hates him at this particular moment in time, would you trade Keegan Murray to acquire him in Sacramento?
No, I would not. Absolutely not.
Number one reason why not would be what?
Health and age. I think the West is way too tough to make that decision. I think you only make that decision if you're a piece away. And if you give up Keegan and you get Jimmy's a very below average 3-point shooter, and a guy who's probably giving you 55 games a year in the regular season, and also has had significant lower extremity issues in the playoffs and in the regular season the last 3 seasons, right? So to me, the only way I do it, if it's like I don't really care what he gives me in the regular season, all I need for him to be, it's like the Kawhi Leonard sort of philosophy. All I need him really is for these games in the playoffs. And I think the West is way too tough for the Kings to make that move, because that doesn't put you above Minnesota. It doesn't put you above Denver. It doesn't put you above OKC. It doesn't put you above a myriad of other teams. So if you got to keep Keegan and Jimmy, then yeah, you absolutely figure out a way to do it. But I don't even think he's going to command that much in terms of to get him, because he's going to want max money. And it's really all about whether you can pay Jimmy Butler what he wants and whether you find that to be something that makes sense for you as a business. But Jimmy Butler to me makes the most sense in New York, because they need another creator. He's a perfect Tibbs guy. He's already played for Tibbs. He is a two-way player.
The original Tibbs guy.
Yeah, he's the OG. Like, the reason that Jimmy Butler can only play 55 games a regular season is because Tibbs ran him down into the ground.
Twice.
Why not 3 times a charm? And like, take the pressure off of Jalen Brunson a little bit. Let him get busy. He can create as well. They like to do some of the same things in terms of the spots on the floor that they want to get to in order to get their shots. So I actually really like that, because right now what we saw with New York is, if it's not Jalen, what do we really have? You're getting corner threes from Dante. You're getting some Josh Hart in
But
transition.
Dante's hit some big shots. I feel
He hit
like
some
you were
big
kind of
shots.
dismissive with that. Dante's hit some big shots.
He's just not a creator, right? And
Sure.
so if you're able to load up on Brunson and rotate effectively, and Dante doesn't have it going, it can get really ugly really fast. I think they just need one more creator. That's really it. And what if you were to, like, if you're New York, you say, like, maybe I give them Julius Randle and 1 first-round pick, and maybe that's enough to get it going, especially if Pat really doesn't want to pay him.
Well, if Pat don't want to pay him, but there's no chance in hell Pat Riley's helping out the Knicks.
That's true. That is absolutely true.
None.
But do you think there's any reason for him to help out the Sixers, who also are thinking about Jimmy?
Sure. Well,
they're not the Knicks.
Yeah, they're not the.
They're not the Knicks.
Like, they are in your conference and all that, but they ain't the New York Knicks.
Yeah, exactly.
New York Knicks. We're taking this beat to the grave.
I don't even think Philadelphia has a player in their contract they can trade.
They don't. No, they don't. Might have to wait for Jimmy to go into free agency like Philly did with a sign and trade, and see if you can do something like that. But no, I wouldn't. I just think what's happening is another evolution of the game and roster building, and someone either needs to break that system, or teams need to continue to try to be in vogue with that, which is, I was looking at the Timberwolves and the Nuggets last night when I was watching that game. The Timberwolves have 14 guys that are over 6'4", 6'4" or above. They have like 11 guys 6'5" or above. If you look up and down that roster, outside of like Monty Morris and Mike Conley, everybody's a monster. Everybody. Long, athletic, able to defend. A lot of them can knock down threes. So they're able to do a little bit of everything. It's kind of what the original Toronto Raptors wanted to do, and we're just not very effective in doing so. And that's what you have for the Nuggets as well. 13, 14 guys, 6'4", 6'5", or above. And so, and then two legitimate 7-footers, which Denver does not have. So if you're in the Western Conference, now you need to figure out that problem. Everything else is kind of secondary until you're like, okay, well, how do we score with Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert protecting the paint? Do we just try to hunt Karl Anthony Towns to get him into foul trouble? Like, that's a nice thought, but hasn't seemed to work for Denver so far.
I might be a one-man wolf pack here with this one.
Oh,
but I think the Cavs are going to make a series out of this Boston situation. I think Boston's going to win. I'm going to say Boston in 6, though.
The radio cannot see
how does that? Can you just? You're a very smart basketball mind, so explain to me how that happens.
I think Donovan Mitchell is going to have a hell of a series, because he always does. Like, he just always, that's what he does more times than not. So I think he's going to bring the scoring punch needed to match up with Tatum and Jalen and everything else like that. And I'm also banking on Jared Allen coming back, which is maybe not fair because he didn't play in the last game. But I think he'll come back before Porzingis. And if you got Jared Allen and Evan Mobley inside, I think you can give Boston a little bit of problems. A little bit. So I because Porzingis isn't there, that's why I have it at 6. If Porzingis was there, I might have it as a sweep for Boston.
I get that. Don't think Jared Allen's coming back, though. If he doesn't come back, I think it's a wrap. His cracked rib, that's a real issue. That's a real issue. You don't want any problems with that. I also think that Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell have very tough matchups. I mean, you just have guys on the perimeter that are going to be able to lock down, right? You've just got Jaylen Brown probably on Donovan Mitchell, loves guarding his buddy, Drew Holiday on Darius Garland. Darius Garland's going through like a current crisis of his game. He's been just unseeable, unknowable on a milk carton. I think his confidence is at an all-time low right now. He's just not taking shots. And the audacity and the gall that he had to desire and demand the ball when it was a foul situation in Game 7 against the Magic, just disgusting stuff. Just disgusting. The stat padding was unethical. We know those aren't your real points. Those are points they had to give you. Okay, you're 90% free throw shooter, but you did not earn those whatsoever. Those should have gone to Donovan Mitchell, who I needed one more point from in order to cash a 90 to.
Oh, I knew there was some extra saltiness behind that proclamation right there.
I'm with you.
That's just disgusting. And Donovan's like calling for the ball. Give me the ball. Give me the ball. And they throw it over the top. And there needs to be an investigation, truthfully, about that.
There's a lot of investigations going on in the NBA right now.
Darius Garland, I think, is going to have a tough series. Donovan, he's always good for breakout performances, but let's not sleep. He had 2 huge stinkers, games 3 and 4, I believe, in Orlando when he had like 18 and 19 points or something like that. So we're going to need to see him play like he did the last 2 games of the series. And he's dealing with, I think, either a knee issue or a thigh issue. He went back to the locker room a couple of times. So it's just a tough matchup for Cleveland. I actually don't think they're going to score 100 points tonight.
Okay.
Sweep?
Maybe 5. Boston likes to play with their food.
Yeah, Boston might lose tonight. And I don't think they will. Boston's locked in. Before you want to weigh in on the weekend?
Man, wasn't it electric?
Oof.
I've been watching so many TikToks. The concept of crowdsourcing a diss record is just so brilliant. And I got people who aren't even hip hop fans that I sent the Metro beat to, and they're just walking around, baby actress, baby. It just sticks in your head. That's a jam.
Even though Metro probably should fall back.
Probably, needs to just log offline for a while. Just stay offline.
All the way back.
They call them Metro grooming.
Bruh.
They call them Metro grooming. These people are so clever, you know? They're just brilliant.
If they would only use their powers for good,
exactly.
In a better place.
Drake's been taken. I was texting Damien when these were dropping, like, oh my God, did you see this? Because it was just, they would just casually just put it on Twitter too, like me. Like it was just like, hey, here's my song, you know, here it is right on Twitter. It took hours to get on like Spotify and Apple Music. And I'm just gonna release it right now. Just here you go. Drake's been taking some L's, man. I saw something yesterday where it was like his response track was essentially like, if I'm a liar, why aren't my pants on fire? You know, like if I'm a pedo, why am I not in jail? It's like, dude, get out of here. What are you talking about? Like, there's no winning when you get accused of certain things and everyone's asking you to respond. Like, there's no way to prove a negative, bro. Everybody's don't, and everybody's searching through your old photos and your old Instagram comments. Like when Billie Eilish turned 18, you're like, I've been waiting. Like that was out of pocket anyway. I don't care what that has to do with. Like, so now everybody's crowdsourcing the private investigation as well. It's no win. And this is what I said from the beginning that people got on me on Twitter about in the very, very beginning when J. Cole came out and was like, listen, that was not what I wanted to do. That wasn't on my heart. Didn't sit right with me. I apologize. I don't want any of this. I'm taking the song down from all the streaming platforms. And everybody's like, oh, J. Cole's a bitch. J. Cole, this is not in the spirit of hip hop. Hip hop is dead. And I'm like, no, I think that's just like savvy decision making. First of all, if you didn't want to do it, you shouldn't have done it. Shouldn't have been pressured into doing it. But two, like, you already know what's coming down the pike. If you're in that circle and you know how deep the beef is and how much these dudes really don't like each other, and you know that low-key kind of everybody in the industry just does not F with Drake, and they're just allowing his presence because he makes hit after hit after hit, and they're really waiting for his downfall, you should probably step away. And that is exactly, he looks like the smartest person.
That's right.
Right now.
He's winning hip hop. Ain't nobody digging up old J. Cole tweets.
No, everybody's like, oh yeah. I saw that people were like, Kendrick and Drake going crazy. It's like a war scene. And then it's that one TikTok that went viral of that dude on the skateboard drinking the ocean spray.
Yeah.
And like, that was J. Cole. Yes. He's living his best life right now. He doesn't have to worry about getting into the lab for some nonsense because Kendrick put out a certified club banger that was like 1995 West Coast hip hop. And now everybody's like, oh, V-Ho. Nobody wants that with Dreamville. Like Creamville, we don't want any of that, right? We don't want any of that.
Ma'am, I can't let that.
We don't want any of that. Or how about Teenville? We don't want any of that either.
Oh. All right, just because ma'am, we do not need any of this right now. But we do need your takes on these NBA games. So make sure you're subscribing to the Heat Check podcast and checking out BetQL tonight. TK, we appreciate you as always.